first step in getting these coilovers installed is you got to get this whole strut assembly. You have to get it all down to the strut tube itself. So you got to remove the disc brakes. You don't have to totally remove the lower control arm, but you do have to loosen it from the ball joint to get it released from the lower control arm. This linkage bar, you get that off, and your tie rod in, you take that off. So I've already loosened the brake line to the caliper, and I'm going to take the caliper off. This lower control arm, we're going to be replacing this with the AZC car lower control arm, so we're not going to need the stock one. So you got one bolt here, take off, and you got two bolts here that connect it to the ball joint. And so 3 bolts, and this comes off. I've already done that. You got another bolt that holds this linkage bar here. Just one bolt here in the back. I think that's a 19mm, and then you got 2 smaller ones that hold it to the lower control arm, and you have to take those off. So we're going to be replacing that with AZC car linkage arm. Okay, so now we want to, this, you don't have to remove this can just flop out of the way, but you have to remove the brake assembly. So that's what we're going to do right now. Remove that. Do a little tappy. That out of there. Move that out of the way. Alright, so there's 2 17mm bolts that hold the caliper to the mounting bracket. I'll just crap off here. We're not going to be using these brake calipers, so if you're going to be using your stock calipers, you can just remove this. You don't even have to remove the brake line. You can remove the 2 17mm bolts and swing it out of the way just to take the strut tube off. You don't have to remove the brake line assembly. It. Next thing you want to do is remove your nut that holds the hub. This has your bearings and everything in it. Just kind of get a screwdriver in there. Just rolling around the floor. Alright, so now you just gotta take the cotter pin here. I'll take this out. off right here. This comes off. Alright, this part's going to be messy, so got that nut there. You got a washer behind it. It'll come off. Your bearing's gonna come. Now would be a good time to inspect these bearings if they need to be replaced. What you want to inspect the bearings is see if there's any play, see if there's any galling or missing bearings. This one looks to be in pretty good shape, but we're going to replace it anyways. So, and this washer has a little keyway, so it only goes on one way. And it should come off. There it is. You also want to inspect these bearings and replace them if they need to be replaced. You got your seal. Alright, now the splash guard needs to come off. So you got 4 Phillips. I'm using a impact screwdriver. You can get these pretty cheap at Harbor Freight. You got 3 14mm bolts at the strut tower, so we're just going to take these off. I got the strut flipped upside down. We're going to take off the steering knuckle. This also holds your ball joint. There's 2 17mm bolts, and we're going to take those off. We're not going to be using the steering knuckle because we got a new one from Arizona Z car. A lot better, a lot lighter. If you're using the new steering knuckle from AZC, you're not going to be needing these. probably would have came off without an error. The other one was stuck on there though. And that's it. Alright, we're gonna flip it back over. I don't know if you can see that. Alright. Are you walking?
No, I'm just gonna go get the nail.
Okay.
Hey! Oh, I forgot my stick.
What, to smack him with it?
No, it keeps him in check.
Oh.
You're turning me in circles.
Hey.
Can you hold him?
Yeah. Hey.
Stay.
No. What's up, buddy?
I've never had a background check done on me before. They're like, oh, let's make sure she's real.
Yeah. They only do that at all jobs. Make sure you're not like
Lying.
a rapist. Alright, this is the dangerous part. Technically, you're supposed to use a spring compressor to compress the spring before you take this nut off, because it would just shoot off into your ceiling of your garage and then. Oh. But these springs are really weak and soft, so I'm going to loosen this nut up just slowly, and the strut bearing will come off. It'll pop a little bit, but it's not going to go flying. Alright, so something happened with the camera. It stopped recording. So, anyways, slowly you take this nut off here, and this will, it'll pop up, but it's not gonna go flying through your ceiling or anything. So that's it. And you just take it all off. Now we're ready to cut the strut tube. Alright, so I'm getting ready to cut the strut tube. I don't have a chop saw that has a vise on it or some sort of device to clamp it down, so I'm just gonna have to do it by hand. Also, this little nut here should come off, should thread off, but it's not. It's rusted on there, so I'm just gonna have to do what I did to the other one. Is just cut through the tube and through the shock itself. So yeah, there's going to be oil and everything, but what I'm going to do is make a cut. See, I measured 1.25 inches from the shoulder. So I'm going to make a cut and get down into where the oil is, and then I'll just drain all the oil and then finish the cut. So I've got an angle gauge on here, so I know that it's level. And then just kind of eyeball it. Doesn't have to be exact, but this is the shoulder here, and you want to be 1.25 inches from here to your mark. So realistically, you should probably be like 1 inch, but just to be on the safe side, we'll go 1.25 inches until we get it on its wheels and see how much more adjustment we need. So I'm gonna get this cut and drained and all that crap, and then we're gonna check out the next step. Alright, so I made a cut, just to get through the tube wall and into the shock itself, and then I just drained it in this pan here. So make sure you get all the oil out if you're gonna do it this way. I would not advise doing it this way, but I really have no choice, so as long as we get it done. So now I'm just gonna finish that cut. Alright, so I moved the hub out in the light because it's too dark in my garage. So once you get the hub cut at 1.25 inches above the where the hub shoulder is, this is how it's gonna look. So you see, I've cleaned it up a little bit. Just took off all the dirt, and it wasn't very much rust. Some of these are totally rusted, so if yours is all rusted, I would just go get another one from Pick and Pull or wherever if you can't take it off. But I'm gonna POR15 this whole hub also, so it's never gonna rust. But yeah, this is 1.25 inches from this. This is a shoulder here. Let me see if I get it. Can't see that camera. All right. Inch and a quarter, roughly. It doesn't have to be exact. So this is a sleeve that comes with the kit. This thread's on the bottom of your coilover here. Okay, now one side it'll have threads, obviously for coilover, and the other side is smooth. But this is really close tolerance, which is good. That's what you want. What you want to do is stick it. Now you're gonna have to, after you cut it, you're gonna want to take some sandpaper and just 45-degree angle over this edge right here to get just that little lip off there, so you can fit this over it. And see, it's a tight fit. See if I could get it. Can't do it with one hand. There it goes. So you slip it over there, but you can see this little lip here, that little forging in the hub. We're gonna have to make a notch on this sleeve to go over that to get all the way down to the shoulder so we can weld it. So that's the next step. Alright, so I use the cutoff wheel to start the notch and just mainly get the bulk of, to get the shape down with the cutoff wheel. Okay, then you don't have to use the cutoff wheel, you could use whatever. I just find it easier. Then I took a Dremel with this cutoff wheel. It's not a cutoff wheel, it's like a cutter bit. Then you just take it and you get the shape you need. And I kind of contoured it a little bit here just to get it over that forging, that hump in the forging. Okay, then I took my grinder here and I've flattened this out just a little bit more, just because I'm picky. You don't have to. But so now from the shoulder here to the top of this is 1.25 inches. And like I said, doesn't have to be exact. But now I've got so I've got the sleeve, I've got threaded on the coilover. I'm going to show you what the gaps look like on the hub here. It's a tight fit, so there it goes. Bad lighting. So there it is, sitting over the hump, the forging, and we've got about 1/8 of an inch from the shoulder. You want a little bit of gap, because that's where your weld bead's going to go. That's the finished product, basically. And what you want to do, you don't want to weld it yet. You don't have to. You could put a tack on it and then install it in the car, and then bring it down on its wheels to set your initial ride height. Well, this is what the finished product should look like. So you've got the new Arizona Z car steering knuckles, AZC lower control arm. We got our new cross member in. I still gotta make a skid plate for that. Got the rack and pinion, and everything is just, this is all just mocked up though, so we still gotta weld in the camber plates to really bolt this thing down, but I just have it mocked up. So another thing I wanted to cover is this bolt here that holds the lower control arm to the cross member. That's a stock one. You see, that's a stock one. The ones that the kit comes with, let me get on the light here. These are the ones that the kit comes with. These are a lot bigger than the stock ones. Let's see if I could. Just to show you. That's a stock one. And that's the one the kit comes with. And these are bushings here. These are bushings here that keep when you have it bolted in, it'll be like this. And then it holds the heim joint there that's on the lower control arm. So in order to get these in, you gotta buy, well, I had to go buy one, you might have one on hand. Gonna have to buy a 11/16 drill bit with a reduced shank, so you can get in your drill here. It's fucking expensive, dude. Look at that. Anyways, while you're at the store, if you're doing this, you want to pick up a 3/4 inch drill bit, because you're gonna need a drill bit to drill out. Get in the light. This is the hub, the spindle. You gotta drill a hole in the bottom here so that you can adjust your shock. So that's what that 3/4 inch drill bit's for.